Hello everyone, welcome back to Migration USA. I'm your host, Sushma Kare. In our previous episodes, we've delved into critical issues surrounding migration to the United States. Today, we're tackling the latest updates in US immigration under a new regime, one that marks a dramatic shift in policy direction. But first, if you missed our first two episodes, don't worry. You can catch up by checking the links in the description below. Here's a quick recap of what we've already discussed. In episode 1, we introduced the growing issue of illegal migration to the US, including the scale of the problem and how the US government has been responding to it. In episode 2, we explored how migrants enter the US illegally, discussing methods like border crossings, overstaying visas, and even human smuggling. If you haven't seen those episodes yet, make sure to watch them. Just follow the links below. But before we start, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, like the video, share it with others, and be sure to tap the bell icon so you're always informed when we release new content on this important topic. Before we dive in, I want to take a moment to acknowledge the effort I've put into researching and bringing you authenticated, credible content on this serious and humanitarian issue affecting both the original residents of the US and the many migrants living in difficult conditions for years, now facing stricter actions. I'm working hard to bring you almost daily episodes on this crucial topic. So if you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button, give the video a like, share it with others, and don't forget to tap the bell icon so you'll always be informed when we release new content on this important issue.
Well, folks, he's done it again. Just when you thought the political landscape couldn't get any more chaotic, Donald J. Trump has made his grand re-entrance. The man who dominated headlines, sparked countless debates, and left an indelible mark on American politics is back in the spotlight. And this time, he's more determined than ever to leave his mark. Remember that orange cloud that hung over America for 4 long years? The one that seemed to cast a shadow over every aspect of our lives? Well, brace yourselves, because it's back with a vengeance. This isn't just a return, it's a full-blown political storm, and it's gathering strength. It's back, and it brought a political hurricane named Trump 2.0. This isn't just a repeat of the past, it's an amplified version, with all the drama, controversy, and unpredictability that comes with it. His rallies are louder, his speeches more fiery, and his supporters more fervent than ever. That's right, Donald J. Trump. After losing in 2020, yes, he lost, we have the receipts, somehow wormed his way back into the White House. It's a comeback story that defies logic and reason, but here we are. The man who once occupied the highest office in the land is back, and he's ready to shake things up all over again. And like a toddler who just discovered the undo button, he spent his first few weeks frantically erasing every single thing his predecessor did, especially when it comes to immigration. It's as if he's on a mission to undo every policy, every executive order, and every initiative that was put in place over the past 4 years. Gone are the days of even pretending to care about human rights. The policies that aim to protect the vulnerable, to offer a semblance of compassion and humanity, have been tossed aside. In their place, a return to the harsh, unyielding stance that defined his first term. Trump's back, and he's brought his greatest hits collection of cruel and unusual immigration policies with him. The travel bans, the family separations, the relentless crackdown on asylum seekers, it's all making a comeback. And this time, he's not holding back. Buckle up, America. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Think I'm exaggerating? Just wait. The roller coaster of American politics is about to take some sharp turns and steep drops. The uncertainty, the unpredictability, the sheer chaos, it's all part of the package. On his very first day back in office, Trump unleashed a barrage of executive orders targeting immigrants. It was a clear signal of his intentions, a declaration that the old ways were back, and they were back with a vengeance. The sheer volume and speed of these orders left many reeling. 70 of Biden's attempts to make the system more humane? Gone. In the blink of an eye, policies that aimed to bring a touch of humanity to the immigration system were wiped out. The efforts to create a more compassionate, fair, and just system were undone with the stroke of a pen, replaced with a greatest hits collection of Trump's most terrifying policies. The ones that sparked outrage, that led to protests, that were condemned by human rights organizations around the world. They're all back, and they're more aggressive than ever. It's almost impressive how quickly he can dismantle basic human decency. The speed and efficiency with which he's been able to roll back years of progress is nothing short of astounding. But for those who hoped for a more compassionate, humane approach, it's a bitter pill to swallow. The next few years promise to be a tumultuous ride, filled with challenges, controversies, and undoubtedly, more surprises from the man who never fails to keep us on our toes. Remember that heartwarming Trump classic, Family Separation, the musical? You know, the one where children were ripped from their parents' arms and thrown into cages like forgotten toys? Get ready for a command performance because Trump's brought back his smash hit, Zero Tolerance. This cruel policy, which prosecutes all adults caught crossing the border illegally, even those seeking asylum, means families are once again being torn apart. Children, some as young as infants, are left to fend for themselves in overcrowded detention centers, while their parents face deportation. It's a humanitarian crisis manufactured entirely by the Trump administration, and it's happening right now. The truly horrifying part? The Trump administration knows exactly what it's doing. They're using family separation as a deliberate deterrent, a twisted message to anyone desperate enough to seek safety in the US. Don't even think about it, or your kids will pay the price. Remember that time when the US decided to outsource its asylum process to Mexico? No, it wasn't a fever dream. It was Trump's Remain in Mexico policy. And guess what? It's back. That's right, folks. Seeking asylum in the US just got even harder. Under this inhumane policy, asylum seekers, who by law have the right to request protection in the US, are now forced to wait in dangerous Mexican border towns while their cases are processed. These towns, often controlled by cartels, are rife with violence, kidnapping, and extortion. It's like forcing someone to wait in a burning building while you slowly consider whether or not to call the fire department. The Remain in Mexico policy is not only cruel, it's also a logistical nightmare. Asylum seekers are forced to make their cases from afar, often without access to legal representation or even basic necessities. It's a system designed to fail, and its victims are the most vulnerable among us. Section 4, DACA on the chopping block, Dreamers left in limbo. Let's talk about DACA, the program that allows undocumented immigrants brought to the US as children to live, work, and study without fear of deportation. Established in 2012 by the Obama administration, DACA stands for Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. It was a landmark policy aimed at providing temporary relief from deportation and work authorization to eligible young people who came to the United States as children and have lived here for most of their lives. These dreamers, as they are known, are Americans in every way but on paper. They attend our schools, work in our businesses, and serve in our military. They are our neighbors, our friends, and our colleagues. They have grown up with American values and traditions, and many of them speak only English. For all intents and purposes, the United States is their home. They grew up here, they contribute to our economy, and they call this country home. According to various studies, dreamers contribute billions of dollars to the US economy annually. They pay taxes, buy homes, and start businesses. They are integral to the fabric of our society, enriching our communities with their diverse backgrounds and perspectives. So, what does Trump decide to do? You guessed it. He's coming for them too. In 2017, the Trump administration announced its intention to end DACA, throwing the lives of nearly 800,000 young people into chaos. The decision was met with widespread outrage and legal challenges, but the administration remained steadfast in its efforts to dismantle the program. The Trump administration has been relentless in its attempts to dismantle DACA, leaving hundreds of thousands of dreamers in a state of perpetual anxiety. Every court ruling, every policy announcement, and every tweet from the president adds another layer of uncertainty to their already precarious situation. They live in constant fear that they could be deported to countries they barely remember, separated from the only life they have ever known. It's like holding someone's future hostage, dangling it over a pit of uncertainty while they wait, hoping against hope that they won't be the next to fall. The psychological toll of this uncertainty is immense. Many dreamers report experiencing anxiety, depression, and other mental health issues as a result of the constant stress and fear of deportation. They are forced to put their dreams and aspirations on hold, unable to plan for the future or make long-term commitments. The cruelty is the point. Trump knows that dreamers are a sympathetic group, that their stories resonate with Americans across the political spectrum. By targeting them, he is able to rally his base and score political points, all while using the lives of young immigrants as pawns in his broader anti-immigration agenda. It's a calculated move designed to sow division and stoke fear. But he doesn't care. He's willing to sacrifice their lives on the altar of his anti-immigration agenda, using them as bargaining chips in his political games. The fate of hundreds of thousands of young people hangs in the balance, their futures uncertain, their dreams deferred. It's a cruel and heartless strategy, one that prioritizes political gain over human lives. And as the battle over DACA continues, the dreamers remain in limbo, caught in a web of political maneuvering and bureaucratic red tape, waiting for a resolution that may never come. Section 5. Asylum? More like asylum. The doors slam shut. America used to be a beacon of hope for those fleeing persecution. For generations, the United States stood as a symbol of freedom and opportunity, a place where the oppressed could find sanctuary and start anew. The promise of America was a lifeline for countless individuals escaping war, violence, and tyranny. The Statue of Liberty, that grand dame of freedom, beckoned those yearning for a better life. Her torch was a guiding light, a promise that here, in this land, they could breathe free. The inscription at her base, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free," was more than just words. It was a commitment to humanity. But under Trump, that beacon has dimmed, replaced by a flickering neon sign that reads, "Asylum," almost out of business. The policies enacted by his administration have turned the once welcoming shores into a fortress, where the gates are closed and the message is clear: you're not welcome here. Trump's made it nearly impossible to seek asylum in the US. The process, already arduous, has been made even more difficult by a series of executive orders and policy changes designed to deter asylum seekers. Families are being torn apart, and individuals who have risked everything to reach safety are being sent back to danger. He's slashed the number of refugees allowed into the country to a historic low, reducing the annual cap to levels not seen in decades. This drastic reduction means that fewer people than ever before can find refuge in the United States, leaving many in perilous situations with nowhere to turn. Implemented a web of bureaucratic hurdles that are nearly impossible to navigate, creating a labyrinth of red tape that even the most determined asylum seekers struggle to overcome. The paperwork is overwhelming, the requirements are constantly changing, and the process is designed to frustrate and exhaust those who dare to seek safety. And reinstated the Safe Third Country Agreements, which force asylum seekers to seek protection in countries they've already fled. These agreements effectively shut the door on those who need help the most, sending them back to places where their lives are still in danger. Forcing asylum seekers to seek protection in countries they've already fled. It's a cruel twist of fate, like escaping a burning building only to be told, "Sorry, that fire escape was the wrong one." The desperation and fear that drove them to flee in the first place are compounded by the realization that there is no safe haven. It's like escaping a burning building only to be told, "Sorry, that fire escape was the wrong one." The policies are not just bureaucratic hurdles, they are life and death decisions that affect real people, with real stories and real suffering. Now go back and try again. The message is clear. Your suffering is not our concern. The administration's stance is a stark departure from the values that once defined America as a land of opportunity and refuge. The Trump administration's assault on asylum is a betrayal of American values. It undermines the very principles that the country was founded upon, turning its back on the most vulnerable at a time when they need help the most. The protests and outcry from citizens and human rights organizations highlight the deep divide and the moral crisis facing the nation. It's a rejection of our history, as a nation built by immigrants, a history that has been a source of pride and strength. The stories of those who came before, who built their lives and contributed to the fabric of American society, are being disregarded in favor of a narrative of exclusion and fear. A nation that has always offered refuge to those in need. The legacy of offering a safe haven to the oppressed is being eroded, and with it, the soul of the nation. The question remains, will America find its way back to being that beacon of hope, or will the doors remain shut, leaving countless lives in the balance?